all my dear students. Students, we are here today to discuss the third chapter of your economic syllabus, that is money and credit. And let me assure you that this chapter will be for your periodic, or whenever we start, I can give you it for assignment or for a project work. It's a very interesting topic, and money, as you know, it spans a large part of our life. Daily we purchase something, some things that we purchase and we give money immediately, but there are some services we use them now, but we pay later. We pay for them later. So money spans a very long part of our life today, and in every transaction we need money. Whatever, whether it is a small thing or it is a large thing. For small things like vegetables, fruits, milk we take daily, but we pay later. So there are certain commodities which we buy through money, and there are certain services we use today, but we pay later. So money and credit, that is money that spans a large part of our life. And what is the role of credit in our life? We are going to discuss about it in detail. First of all, I will tell you the use of money. Money, when we go to the market, we buy certain things. We keep money in our pocket or in our purse. It is very easy to carry it. We simply go to the market. For example, suppose a person want to buy shoes or a person want to buy wheat. So simply what he will do, he will keep money in his pocket and will go to the market, and with the money he or she can buy any commodity which he wants to buy. So this is a simple use of money today, because it is authorized by the central government of India and it is issued by the RBI. So it is an authorized thing, authorized currency for the country. But do you know, students, that there was a time when money was not the medium of exchange and goods were exchanged in place of goods. Money was not the medium of exchange. Without money, transactions were going on in the earlier times. Okay, so this was known as barter system. See, like I told you today, suppose a person want to buy shoes. Simply he will go to the market, keep money with him, buy shoes by giving money, very simple, or wheat or anything. But in a barter system, when money was not the medium of exchange, goods or services were exchanged in place of goods and services. Goods and services were exchanged in place of goods and services. For example, in a barter system, suppose there is a shoe manufacturer, okay, and he wants to buy wheat for his family. So what he will do? He will put the bag on his shoulder, bag full of shoes. He will search for a wheat grower in the market. It may take a day, it may take 2 days, it may take a week. So he has to search for a wheat grower, whether he get it or not. Then the wheat grower also, such a wheat grower who not only wants to give his wheat, but also in return he wants to take shoes. Okay, so goods and services are exchanged in the barter system through goods and services. There is no transaction of money in between. So I told you, a shoe manufacturer and a wheat grower. There should be a double coincidence of wants. Double coincidence of wants means it will be a coincidence that the shoe manufacturer gets a wheat grower, not only a wheat grower, but also such a wheat grower who not only wants to exchange wheat, give wheat to the other, but also want to take shoes in return. So that would be a coincidence of wants. So barter system is totally based on double coincidence of wants. It depends that what a person want to buy is exactly what the other want to sell. What a person want to buy is exactly what the other want to sell, and this is a coincidence of wants. So barter system was based on this phenomena. It was quite difficult. It was very complex because, you know, gradually money came as a medium of exchange. Barter system was replaced because it had many drawbacks. As you must be thinking, when I am giving you example, a thing would be going on in your mind, that how wheat and shoes, how the cost of both the things can be measured, can be balanced. On one hand, there is wheat, the bag of wheat. On the other hand, there are shoes. There is quite a difference between the cost of the two things. Or suppose on one hand there is jewelry, there is gold, silver, etc. And on the other hand, suppose there is dairy product. So, in a barter system, the value of the goods could not be calculated properly. And it was a very complex system. Moreover, it was very, very difficult for a person to search for such a person whom there is a coincidence that what a person want to sell is exactly what the other want to buy, and vice versa. Understand? So, and this was also very time consuming. I told you it may be that in a day, the two person they meet together and they exchange their goods. It may be a week or it may be a month. So that would be a coincidence. So it was very complex. And loading your things on your shoulder and searching for a person who could buy the things and give whatever the person wants, that was very difficult. And I told you that it was very time consuming also, and the value of the goods could not be calculated accurately. So barter system was replaced by the use of money. So money came as a medium of exchange gradually. Barter system was replaced because people found it very difficult, very complex. So it was replaced and money came as a medium of exchange. Today, it is medium of exchange because it is authorized by the central government of India and it is issued by Reserve Bank of India. So it is an authorized currency. If anyone is doing any business or working in India, the person wherever he lived, he or she cannot deny payment in Indian currency. So this makes us a nation state, a feature of a nation state, that we have our own currency. Correct? So money is called the medium of exchange today. And what money we see today in the form of currency, paper note and coins, in the ancient times, this was of different sizes and of different materials. For example, when people came to know that barter system was quite difficult and it was very complex, then kings and the administrators, they began to mint coins. And in your NCERT, you can see that there are different shapes: oval shape, round shape, rectangular shape, different types of shape. And if you remember in history, in the ancient civilizations, there were seals made of terracotta, baked clay. So that was also used as currency exchange of goods between the two countries or between the two civilizations. So this currency played a very important role later on when it was known that barter system was quite difficult to continue. So today we have paper note or coins in the form of currency. There is one more way by which we hold money, and that is in the form of check, that we will discuss later. And before that, I must tell you that behind all these things, there is Reserve Bank of India, the Apex Bank, and it authorizes the currency, it issues currency to India on behalf of the central government. Correct? So let us now talk something about checks. There is one more way, there is one more form through which we hold money, and that is in the form of checks. You know that when we have an account in the bank, many people deposit money in the bank. There is one another question in your NCERT, that deposits in the banks. There is one more way by which we hold money, that is we have money in the bank and bank issues a checkbook in return when we have an account in the bank. Now the question arises, why we keep money in the bank? So the points are that in the bank our money is safe and secure. Secondly, our money increases because it earns an interest rate. And the third is, whenever we require money, we can withdraw it from the bank. Today we have ATMs also. Otherwise, previously, it was a foundation that we could withdraw money from the bank only when it was a working day. But today we have ATMs, etc., and we can withdraw money and we can pay through online also. We have so many facilities today. Correct? So people deposit money in bank and banks give them a checkbook. So large payments are made by checks which are very safe actually. That makes money very safe and very secure. Nobody can deny if we are paying a check to a person. We are paying money through check. They cannot deny because it is all recorded. Now the question arises, what is a check? So a check is a paper instructing the bank to pay a specific amount of money from the person's account to the person in whose name the check has been made or the check has been issued. In your NCRT, there is a very good example. See, in Mohammed Salim, he is paying money, 57,000 rupees he has written, where the rupees column is there, and the money is paid through check and through the account pay, and this check ensures that the money has been given from one person who has the account in a bank to the person in whose name the check has been made, the check has been issued. So this is how the check works, and this is how we hold money, through check. So that is all for today, students. Tomorrow we will take it further, the checks, how they play a very important role in fulfilling the transactions, the big transaction, and we will discuss that what is the mechanism behind the banks and what mechanism works when people deposit money and how banks use this money for the development of the country. Thank you very much.